Hi, I'm Ted Ohashi, and welcome to Let's Talk Business on Video. I'm pleased to have with me today Daniel Petrov from Kiaro Holdings, listed KO on the TSX Venture Exchange. Good morning, Daniel.
Thanks, Ted. Nice to be here.
Now, you've made a major acquisition that was just recently announced, but before we get into that, why don't you tell us a little bit of what Kiaro is all about?
Yeah, we're a retail cannabis company. We started in 2018 to pursue the opportunity of recreational cannabis. So what are we all about? I mean, in 2018, we started obviously with no stores when legalization was just getting started, and really pursued a path of building a really operational, focused, excellent team. And I think that's where we differentiate from the pack. We didn't start out just running and trying to gain a bunch of square footage and store count. Really, we wanted to build just that operational, gem, and then scale it up from there. So where have we come since 2018? Before this deal today, this huge deal that we announced with Aegis Brands, Hemisphere, we had currently we have 7 stores. We have 5 in BC and 2 in Saskatchewan. We have 1 store, which is our 8th store that actually was announced a little while ago, that's opening up in Kelowna. And before this big deal today with Hemisphere, we also acquired 1 store in Toronto from a company called Cozy Cannabis. And that store comes with a few e-com stores as well. A notable name, vaped.com, vaped.ca, and Vaporizer Direct in Australia. And then the big one today. So going from that footprint of 7 stores, and the 8th in Kelowna and the 9th in Toronto, really this brings on another 9 potential stores, the Hemisphere deal. So that's who Kiaro, we're an operational company, we're a retail company. And what we like to say our North Star is there's 2 kind of companies, it seems, that one is producing products and one is serving products. And we're in the serving products business. And that's a category of business outside of cannabis that has just grown huge. When you look at products nowadays and who delivers those products, you have Uber Eats, you have DoorDash, you have Starbucks that do an amazing job. Coffee isn't the greatest. But when it comes to that service and education experience, that's who we are. We're obsessed with customers. We're obsessed with that experience. And what we get to own is that product of service. So any way a customer can get a product in the cannabis space, Kiaro, we're going to be there. We're going to have that standard level of service across the board. And there's just so many ways to do that right now with e-com, which are sites we just acquired. E-com in Saskatchewan that we're doing, last mile delivery in BC that's opening up. The delivery, if it's still on the docket for Ontario now, it's just I'll stop there. But that's really who Kiaro is a company that's obsessed with customers, focused on operations, and really want to own that service product where we deliver that experience of a product to customers. I think I didn't ramble on too much, Ted. That's who we are.
Okay. In terms of the acquisition today, where are those extra 8 or 9 stores located?
Yeah, it's a good question. The 8 or 9 stores, this portfolio, we've been looking at Ontario for quite some time. This isn't something we just did overnight. And we've had questions about Ontario continually. Are you guys going to enter Ontario? What's your plan for Ontario? And we couldn't really say too much other than we've been looking there since they announced lottery, since the beginning. And I think this portfolio we acquired, we have an amazing biz dev and licensing team, which you kind of have to in BC with the regulatory barriers. But we've looked at hundreds of different opportunities in Ontario. And this package, when it came through, this store portfolio, I think is best in class. It's diverse around all the way from Toronto to Ottawa. The stores are spread out in key areas. And the stores are either AA or AAA stores. That's probably a testament to Aegis Brands and a testament to their retail experience. You got guys that built Second Cup. You got founders that built Yogan Foods. These are just retail experts. So not only is the portfolio AA and AAA stores by retail grade, they're spread out. They're just the regional diversity of these stores from Toronto to Ottawa and in between is just massive. So I think it's just a huge compliment, and everyone's excited today to be able to announce it because it's a huge compliment to what we have in BC and Saskatchewan. We have the best, hands down, arguably the best portfolio of stores across the country. We don't have the most stores, but I'd say we have the best stores. So these stores, I'm just really excited to where they're located.
And the stores have all been open for a while, or are they generating revenue? Are they in operation?
So out of the stores, there's actually 7 stores that you're going to see on the deal. And there's going to be 2 more that are that are leases. So 7 operational stores. Out of the 7, 5 are open and operating right now. One is actually opening this week. That's the Front Street location in Toronto. And there's another one that's going to open in August, and that's the Ottawa location. So pretty much you have 4 stores in Toronto, 2 in Ottawa, and one in Ajax, if you're familiar. And then we have a Napanee and a Bellevue store opening up in the winter here. So we open all those stores. That's 9 stores actually, not 7, if you go to the full extent. But 7 operational stores are what we acquired here when this thing closes, and 2 more on the docket to open up.
It really fills out your portfolio, doesn't it? I mean, yesterday you were primarily a BC and Saskatchewan company, and now you're even skewed a little bit toward Ontario, but you're certainly across the country.
Well, per capita, maybe still BC, but it's we are. This is again, it's just a testament to the team, even the foresight. I mean, if you watch some of our presentations we've done, we've essentially laid out what we want to do, and so we said we were going to do this. We said we're in Ontario. We said we're looking for these stores, and we said that we've always predicted that Ontario or evaluated Ontario to be a different market than BC, where Ontario was first mover isn't the best mover. It's a market where you can put a store beside a store. You can share a wall if you want to. So, in that kind of checkers game, if someone said, "Hey, who wants to put all the chips on the table first?" and the other guy comes in, I'd rather be second. I'd rather go when the chips are laid. And it's kind of what we've done here. So Ontario was definitely second mover. We had to get the best stores. That's a market where you want the best, not the first. And whereas in BC, in contrast, we started first in BC, plus we're home base in BC, is because you wanted to be first because the regulatory barriers were so high and still will remain high. It's just the time it takes you to navigate and get the right stores. I'll stop there. But yeah, it's a huge, filling out of our whole portfolio. It's amazing. So,
Daniel, also, I saw from the press release, you're going to get some management help coming over for the transition period and maybe beyond that.
Yeah. So with the transition, one of the key people in the transition is a girl named Jen Juby. So she's coming over as our VP of retail. Jen has worked, I think, in retail for about 20 years. And if I'm not mistaken, 16 of them have been with Starbucks. So, again, the coffee kind of thread there with Aegis Brands and Second Cup and Bridgemark, their coffee company that they still have maintained and they're growing. But Jen's coming over. We got a huge number of retail staff. I think total we'll probably have about 70 people coming on board with all staff included. And then some key managers at stores. But yeah, I would say notable coming over from the Hemisphere transaction are both Jen Juby, our VP of Retail, and Steve Pelton, the CEO of Aegis. He's going to be coming on the board. He's going to be stepping on the board and really supportive of the company. So it's a beautiful thing when you can acquire a company or bring companies together where all of these things complement. And not only do you get through acquisition just complementary tangible things, you get these intangibles. You get to fill out the board. You get huge retail backing and retail support. You get another person that's been in the industry and retail for so long. Not only in the coffee space and the traditional retail space that's relatable, that's been in the cannabis space and this East Coast, West Coast build out. So when people look at acquisitions, if they're not looking at those intangibles and what is coming on board, you're leaving a lot on the table. So I honestly think this deal is kind of ideal. You're maybe not getting too many of these types of deals, but not too many things to synergize out. The synergies are just present in the deal, complementary in every facet. And then again, these intangibles, these talented resources that can just really build our team East, West Coast.
Yeah, that's great. I mean, it sounds terrific. So just to summarize, Kiaro is in retail, in wholesale, and e-commerce. You're now strongly across the country. You've opened a few doors internationally with the US and Australia, and you have some experience with Australia. Are we just going to see more and more of this as we move forward?
I'll keep saying it until someone goes, "Hey, he keeps saying it and he keeps doing it," but let's keep repeating it. We were trending from first year we had stores. The second year we doubled our footprint, and then we got on conferences and calls, and I said, we're not going to give guidance here, but just follow the trends. And again, we're setting that trend. We're doubling our footprint. This year we're definitely focused on digital. So the one thing about growth and scaling is One thing is about just really refining your operational model. And I would say, not too fast, not too soon. It's very much a timing thing. What market are you going into? When are you going into it? What model are you going into it? And this year we're going to be focused heavily on digital. So we've done a very successful job working with our branding agency to really focus on that customer segment when it comes to in-store retail brick and mortar. And this year, especially through the acquisition of Cozy Cannabis and the vaporizer stores and the e-com stores that we have already built and operating since day one in Saskatchewan, it just opens up a huge avenue, not just for digital, but following through with retail brick and mortar when those economies open up. So if you look at the US, this gives us a bridge in the US with e-com. It does inroads. So we are operating in the US, something that isn't cannabis touching. But what it does is it paves pathways, creates awareness, brings vendors, brings shareholders. Australia is another one. Christian Sculthorpe, who was the founder and the gentleman that we bought Cozy Cannabis on, he lived in Australia for years, and he built this herbal vaporizer company. So if I'm not mistaken, Australia, I think they're if not the top, they're one of the top two vaporizer kind of sell through companies in Australia. So you can just imagine the groundwork we're laying to be able to sell through and build through different channels in those markets. So I think you're going to see digital this year. I think you're seeing retail explosive growth already in the just different areas and in the different regions. And now you're seeing these pathways into the US market, into Australia market, and international markets. And those are something we can do now that's a little bit outside of cannabis because it's ancillary. So we can do a lot more as well. So I guess I'll stop there. But yeah, we're really excited. And the team's a little tired after this one, but they're going to get back up and they want to keep running. So can't really stop them.
Okay, well, that's great. Thanks, Daniel. And for our viewers, I mean, we're talking about Kiaro, listed on the TSX Venture as KO. Looks like a terrific opportunity to me. So let's have at it.
Thanks, Ted.
Okay. That was Daniel Petrov, CEO of Kiaro Holdings. Kiaro is listed KO on the TSX Venture Exchange and is one of the featured holdings in the Cannabis Report Model Portfolio published by Investors Hub.